Good morning, Jackie. Hello, this is Dean speaking. Do you hear me?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good. My computer screen isn't one of my computer screens isn't working, so you guys are gonna have to be patient with me today. I'm running everything on one screen today.
Well, that's my normal life. I think we'll manage.
I know. I'm so spoiled.
have we heard from Mr. Denley yet? Is he planning on being involved in this?
I'm sorry, I have not heard from him
Okay.
or Mr. Beeler as well. I haven't heard from either of them.
Well, it's 9 o'clock and I know Mr. Casey has another meeting immediately after this. And so let's get started on time. I want to welcome everybody here. The nice thing about the Zoom meetings, I can see who all's here. So I know when most of us are here. So I want to welcome all of you. And we'll try to stay on task and get this finished as quickly as possible. First item of business then is our active agenda. Had a chance to look over our minutes of our July 2 meeting. Is there any questions about those minutes?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes for July 2nd.
I second.
All right. Any discussion on any of this on this item? All in
No.
favor then of approving the July 2nd, 2020 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye. All opposed signify by saying no. Minutes have been approved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a report from Mr. Casey dealing with the language of our contracts. And Mr. Casey, you go ahead and get started on that one. And if it comes to the time where you have to leave, I guess you can feel free to jump into your other meeting, understand how those go. So if you want to jump on that, then we're happy to hear from you.
All right, thank you, Chair Boersma. My report will be is fairly succinct. With the unforeseen and frankly somewhat unprecedented experience of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the things that it has brought to light, among many challenges for city operations and for community activities, is that our traditional contract language for awarding of LTAC funds, specifically related to event activities, actually limited the potential reimbursement, the eligible reimbursements that an awarded event sponsor and coordinator could recover from the city in the event had to be canceled. In the event that there was some reason that the vendor or the city didn't go forward. And specifically, it had limited it essentially to recovering the costs of already expended advertising and promotional activities. As we've entered into this season and seen the effects of COVID-19, we've had to cancel some events, and we've found that, well, but the practical thing is, for many event coordinators, there are other non-recoverable costs that may be incurred that could put them in a particular financial hardship if we weren't able to kind of honor that they had performed the work and done the agreement. And so we looked at, and I've asked the city attorney to research other examples of LTAC contracts, other jurisdictions, and see if we can't come up with a kind of refreshed language that would balance the needs of the city to be financially responsible, but also recognize that sometimes there are non-recoverable expenses that go into preparing for an event that, through no fault of the event organizer, if something extraordinary like a pandemic occurs and forces us to cancel, they're still out those costs, and that could be a significant financial burden for anyone who's interested in coming forward and potentially seeking LTAC funds. And so we're just starting that conversation with the attorneys, asking them to research that and get back to us, bring back to LTAC, and then eventually council potentially, but certainly bring back to LTAC for review some changes to the contract language that we use. so that we've got everybody's interest well balanced in that. And we haven't heard back from them yet. They've just kind of gotten started on this. I have a meeting with them actually later today, also virtual, um, to get an update on several projects that we have with them, and so hope to follow up with them on this at that time. But that's basically the report and what we're looking at. You have to answer any questions or
Thank you,
convey any
sir.
feedback from the committee.
All right. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Are there any questions for the city manager on this issue?
No.
Okay, so I have one. We had said that we were going to try to get this this change and this update in place for this coming season. Do you still think that that's going to be happening?
I think so. I'll know more after I talk with Eric Ferguson, our city attorney, this afternoon. But they know that's the goal, that we would like to be able to have this ready for the committee to be able to implement with this season's awards, and that's coming up here in another month or so, September, I believe.
Right, and I anticipate probably having a meeting to look over that new contract language and approve that and bring it to council and have council approve that before we get into that season. So we do kind of have to be on the ball for that.
Yep.
But I hope that continues to be on track.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the city manager's report. Our next item of business then is our 2020 Sunshine Days event update. And so looking forward to hearing about that.
I know last time we left with, we made a recommendation, so I don't know what council had said with the recommendation of what we were saying to do a drive-through parade.
Yeah, that one fell on me, and I apologize, Amy, for whatever reason. I was going to bring it up at the council meeting this past Monday and didn't, partly because I was on vacation and my mind was elsewhere. I was hiding out in a bedroom to stay away from my grandsons and all the noise going on in the other rooms. So somehow I got distracted, and I apologize for that. I did talk to a couple members of the community, and they seem to be fairly positive about that or some variation of that. So community-wise, I haven't heard any objections to that. Other than they would really love to have the normal parade. But as an alternative, I did get some positive response from people.
And I do have Prosser had called me, and they were kind of seeing what we were doing, and I kind of told them what I had suggested to council, and they were kind of in the same boat because their parade is also, I believe, in September. So they wanted to kind of see, like, if we do one, how we're going to do it, and then they're going to make their decision as well. So they're being in communication with me of, kind of what we're doing, because they're shooting to do the same thing as well.
Right, and watching what the statewide orders have been, the health department, the governor, and everyone involved in that, it's something that seems to be in a constant state of change as we see numbers getting better than we hope for things to loosen up. But if we see numbers getting worse, well, then we can anticipate things clamping down a little bit. And so we're all in a state of uncertainty right now as well, which I think is stressful for everybody. What I would hate to have happen is have it all planned out and then receive a message from either the health department or the state saying, yeah, sorry, no, you can't do any of that. I think that would be extremely discouraging for everybody. But at this point, I cannot imagine that council members would be opposed to doing some sort of a drive-through parade, as you were suggesting. I'm not seeing where there'd be a lot of objection to that. And so we can start moving in that direction, I think, and I will try to do a better job at our next regular council meeting to bring that up and get the feedback from council on that.
Okay, Mr. Casey, do you have any? I know I wanted to get like your feedback, like what did you think? If as part of with the city, you think we would be okay to do a drive? Kind of like what Christmas, everybody parks their cars for the Christmas lighted parade. This would just be for Sunshine Days.
So, as Chair Boersma mentioned, we're watching very closely the evolving guidance. Frankly, the epidemic isn't behaving in a linear or predictable fashion, and unfortunately, we're seeing indications that while Yakima is making some headway against it, other parts of the state are not, and in fact are seeing very troubling information. And so the decisions are being kind of tailored to the local level, local health departments, and we're seeing that activities that initially had been anticipated might be permitted might end up being canceled. And I think the most notable example I've seen here locally recently is the preliminary decision that had been made to authorize the Sela pool to open. Health officials firmly turned that down this past week and closed their pool for essentially for the season. With regard to the logistics of essentially a reverse parade in which the floats and the participants of the parade are stationary, but the audience moves along past. That's a really intriguing concept. I think logistically, because it preserves the ability to meet the expectations around physical distancing, masking, and so forth by both participants and then by those in the vehicles and maybe driving by. As long as they're staying, no more than 5 per vehicle or within their own households and so forth. I think it's a very intriguing concept. Has a lot of potential. The route would be an important consideration. Spacing and the ability to kind of contain larger traffic impacts, because it is a different dynamic. If we can avoid, for example, having to cross railroad tracks or YVH, find an appropriate route that allows on a wide enough street for us to, have the traffic pass by each other like that. I think those are all questions that could be worked out pretty easily between police, our public safety folks and the parade organizers. So I think we're certainly open to it and happy to try to work with you to come up with a way to make it proceed as smoothly as possible and give people that opportunity to connect.
Amy, do you happen to know of other communities who have done something like this?
No,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't. We want to do something similar at Walmart. We wanted to do, they had asked me to kind of get all the royalties to bring out their float, and we were going to station them in their parking lot. And then people can drive by. They barely told me yesterday about it, see if I can get it to go. So it would be kind of like a test run for me if I could get that done. And who knows, I haven't really asked any of the royalties. I know they're all ready to jump in and participate. I know Moxie wants to do something. She barely told me last Wednesday that they're thinking of doing a parade of some sort, but theirs was more like they're just going to drive through different, like, I guess, parts of their town. So there wasn't really like a drive where people were driving. They would just be driving through neighborhoods.
And Mr. Casey, what was your comment?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it looked like you were going to say something earlier.
No, I'll respond to Ms. Rubio's just most recent comment about neighborhoods. It sparked the idea. It reminds me of in many communities the house lighting, the lighted displays that different neighborhoods sometimes will put on during the holidays, and they will have folks drive through. They're not getting out of their cars or anything, but they are driving through to observe the lights on the houses. So that might be an additional model, almost like a treasure hunt or something like that, where people go to different parts of town to see a cluster of different royalty floats or something like that. That might be another way of organizing it rather than trying to do a linear kind of parade style. So it's an interesting idea. Don't know if it has benefits over the other, but I'm happy to try to see what we can work out. But no, I haven't heard of any other cities specifically trying this approach on a large. Most of them, like Seafair Parade and so forth, they're just canceling the whole events or going, doing something virtual.
I do want to share, this is Jackie. I want to share, Janet just sent out an email. Was it last week on the 10th, saying that the health department approved a parade. It was like a family reunion parade or something like that. So it's something like that they were okay with. So just an idea. If we're wondering if the health department's okay with parades.
All right, well, thank you, Jackie, on that one, because so apparently under certain circumstances, if requirements are met, they will approve certain events. My only concern with, say, maybe a neighborhood where you set something up in a neighborhood and then drive to a different neighborhood is, there's a certain community that develops in a parade. And if you're driving from one neighborhood to the next, you kind of lose that sense of the event. You understand what I mean? It's like about coming to downtown. It's coming to the high school parking lot or the Walmart parking lot or something like that when we're all there. On the other hand, though, it would perhaps avoid some of the traffic congestion and problems that would be associated with all of us driving to one simple spot. So I guess I can see it working either way.
Yeah, and I could sit with chief and the police department, kind of come up with a plan and see what they think as far as what would be better, kind of structure, kind of get with them and see, kind of lay out a plan and then bring it back and kind of show you guys, okay, this is the best plan that they think would be safe for everybody, to kind of move traffic, and then we can go from there.
Well, it sounds like there's good ideas out there, and then we got potential to do some things, and gives us an opportunity to be creative, which I always approve of. I like different approaches. I like creative approaches. So, yeah, we can keep working in this direction. Lindsay, I don't know if you've got anything to contribute to this particular item.
No, we're having the same kind of discussions as far as the lighted parade goes too. So same kind of ideas, same thing, so nothing new.
Well, if we can see that it's working on one venue, we can definitely take the ideas that work best and move them to other venues. Obviously, mistakes are going to be made, things that maybe could be done better, but that's a learning process. This is not anything that any of us has ever had to contend with before. So, yeah, we can feel free to borrow ideas. We can feel free to modify ideas and see what we can make happen and still keep things interesting. Any further discussion on our sunshine days?
So for right now, so it's kind of a move, but I can kind of start the planning, but still there might be a chance we're gonna cancel, because there won't be any really money spent. I mean, we could post it on Facebook, maybe the only thing I think I would wait to even, I guess, purchase anything towards the end, just like a little gift bag, maybe for the royalties that came out, which wouldn't be very much. But I am being very cautious of what is being spent, just because I would rather keep that funding for next year.
No, and that makes sense. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as places to have it or to have stationary, I would, talk to the school, because they have out by the the softball fields out there is a big space. And the port knows a lot of places where there's bigger spaces that could have things like that too. So those were two things that were brought up yesterday.
Yeah, both good ideas. So I was going to say too, we're about 2 months out from sunshine days, give or take a little bit, and a lot can change over the course of just a week. So hopefully trends get better and the health department is enthused about us doing something like this. I'm an optimist by nature. I tend to think that things will continue to get better. I've been surprised from time to time, but I like your idea, Amy. You can do some real low cost advertising as far as Facebook and getting the news out. We've got several Facebook pages throughout the city that are community wide, and those are great opportunities for some free advertising. Obviously, Sunnyside being the town that it is, word of mouth also works phenomenally well because we all know each other so well, and that sort of thing gets out as well. If we're concerned about, getting the word out and then having to disappoint everybody, I think we're all kind of able to handle that. I mean, we've seen that happen so far this year with the farmers market, where they were pretty excited about it and then ended up having to cancel that event. I know several of the churches were excited about this coming week being able to meet in person in church, and that information changed rather suddenly as well. I think we've become used to that. I think the community will accept that some of these things are outside of our control. But if we're going to have the event at all, and if it's going to work, we do have to start planning early enough to where we can make it successful. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, unless somebody else has got different opinions on that, I don't see any problem with getting started. But like you, Amy, I'm reluctant to spend money until we're getting a little closer to the day. All right, if that's all for that, then our next item D, is provide direction for the 2021 lodging tax request for proposals. Jackie, do you have any updates, or you want to explain this one a little more?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm going to log out at this point to head over to my other meeting. But thank you all for the feedback and information, and I look forward to connecting hopefully either at the next council meeting with Chair Boersma or at your next LTAC conversation. Appreciate your help.
Thank you, Mr. Casey, for your participation.
Okay, so from our last meeting, we talked about maybe adding 2 RFPs, one for Sunshine Days and one for the Lighted Farm Implement Parade. So I guess we'll go through them one by one. The first one is just like the general one for anybody that wants to apply for funds. And what we are going to go over was if any of the information on there needs to change. I personally think, comparing it to other applications, we have the same information, just asked just in different ways. And we were going to go over the due dates, when you guys want to review them, and just to make sure, because I didn't send it out yet. And so we're going to do this for the dates are for all of the applications, and then we're going to go over and see if you want to add those other 2 proposals. So I guess let's go over the dates and make sure these dates are okay with you guys. So we have, this is obviously already, we can't do it. It's the 22nd. So we'd have to push everything back forward a week. So it'd be July 29th that we advertise, August 5th and August 12th. And then it'd be published next week on our website. And then it'd be due August 26th. So are you guys okay with that?
August 26th is the due date, you said?
Because we'd push it back a week, yes. So August 26th instead of the 19th.
Yeah, I'm fine with that date.
Okay, August
I don't
26th.
know.
And then you'd review them the September 2nd, which is the following week.
Yeah, I suppose that's how it would work best, isn't it? Because I was looking at July 22 also thinking, hey, man, we've got that already in the paper for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no, that's not. So yeah, that pushes us back to September. I still think we're within range of being able to do that and fit in the timeline that we want.
Yeah, and if you guys want to keep that August 19th date, we can. We just start advertising next week, and none of these dates would change. we would just eliminate the advertising on the 22nd and just start advertising on the 29th. And I say the 29th because the paper only publishes on one Wednesday, every Wednesday, sorry. And we don't have to advertise, we're not required to advertise a certain amount of times. This is just every year we've advertised 3 times.
Well, I think, you know, I want to advertise certainly more than once, because, you know, sometimes you see it and it doesn't click, or somebody thinks about it and decides to do it later on. So the advertising more than once, I don't have a problem with. Publishing it on the website. We could start that already tomorrow or today if we wanted to. But I kind of like, you know, what we've done, you know, when you said, you know, 29th, the 5th, and the 12th, I think that works out pretty well, actually.
Okay, so I'll make that July 29th, August 5th, and can you guys see my screen as I'm editing?
I do, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so August 12th. Okay, and then this will be if you guys get the applications already, then we can just do it tomorrow. August 22nd, 22nd, and then this will stay the same, right? August 19th.
Yeah, any questions about that final date?
I'm fine with the 19th.
Okay, and then reviewing the applications on the 20. Why did I do Thursday? August 26th would be the following week. Does that work with you guys, the 26th or the 27th? Which date would work best for you guys? Oh,
Either is fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with either.
okay.
Yeah, either one worked fine with me as well. So
Okay, August 26th. All right, then we'll do that. And then council will approve, will review the recommendations on September 14th. And that's it for that one. So I'll make sure that those dates are on the Cinco de Mayo one. And was there anything you wanted to change as far as the wording on this proposal, request for proposals?
well, you guys are the ones that have to fill that out, and so you know where the potential problems and headaches are on that one. So this is a great time for you to give your feedback.
I think Cinco's is different from everybody else's.
So this was the one where you guys said you wanted to add in where they give a report or something. So you tell me how you want this application.
I know for like the general, like I know we've had other, you know, people come and ask for LTAC money, and mine, I won't, when they present, I kind of want like to see either pictures of how they did their event from previous, or like a recommendation. Have they done events before? Kind of like, you know, what Cinco has on theirs. So I don't know, you know, what everybody else thinks. That's what I was thinking, just because I know a lot of times they come in and they're asking for money, but I've never either heard of the event, or I haven't gone, you know, like heard it advertised.
Okay, so is there a section that you would want to add that in?
I don't,
What section would work best? Maybe new or continuing activity service. If pleasing, what other projects have you done?
I know in the Cinco, what does it say in the Cinco one? I'm trying to see.
Here's Cinco's. Marketing.
I had mine here, but isn't it like right where it says like the part where it asks us to turn in like your certificate, all that other stuff? Is there a section? Because I know it said like references.
Okay,
And I don't have an awful lot to offer right here because I don't have that contract in front of, or that application right in front of me. So I don't even know where I would look for it.
So this one, the one that you're viewing on your screen, is the actual proposal for Cinco. So here, I think this is where Amy's talking about references. Provide a minimum of 3 references, including name, address, and telephone number of the persons who will attest to your event experience. So what? Oh, I'm sorry. I switched screens and you couldn't see that, but here's Cinco de Mayo's statement of qualifications. So this whole section you guys want in the general one as well, right?
Well, I mean, I think it would just help us because sometimes they're not there, or somebody comes up with their event. Are they able to do it? Just kind of gives us more. Well, at least for me, it gives me more of, okay, a reference, they can do an event, or they have done an event before, and we can see it looks like a successful event that they've had.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I like adding this to the general one also. There's some that LTAC has been funding for a few years now, but you know, we've never seen anything. And I know that they must have some sort of pictures or show us, you know, what it looks like, or if it's really what they say it is. Perhaps I think it'd be better.
Well, I tend to agree with this as well. And I find it interesting that both of our members here present are people who have to fill this form out and provide all these same references themselves. And they're asking for tighter control and more references. And I'm impressed with that. I'm honestly quite pleased with that because we do want to provide high quality events in Sunnyside. We want them to be successful. Not just somebody who has an idea, but somebody who has done some research on this idea and can make this happen. So I think we're all on the same page here on this. I agree with this.
Okay, so I will add the section of statement of qualifications into the general one.
Is there a section? I don't see it, but what I talked about last time was having an example of their advertising. If it's a continuing, if something that we funded before, I would say, you know, please provide an example of advertising that you've done.
Okay, example of advertising. Okay, so I added that little section there, new or continuing activity service.
Okay.
Do you think that's a good spot or a different?
Yeah.
Or I could just add it on to the statement of qualifications and just say advertisement. But,
Well, this is good because then we'll know that we've funded them before. We know how much, and if right here it tells them to give us a sample, then we'll know to look for that and say, you know, that they did a good job. Or
okay, so I will leave that there then. And then I will move, I'm going to show you on the screen, okay? I'm going to move this entire highlighted section here on to the general one, which was the one I previously added that provide a sample of your advertising.
Yeah, and I like how it says project approach / vision. So then that way they have to give us, the vision of it. And, it says on here to describe the strategy. So it gives us more like, okay, they know what they're talking about. They have a plan, not just, hey, we want money and we have this great idea. Like, I want to know what their plan is, what they're going to be doing, not just vote and have, just because you write and say, oh, I have this great idea, but I want to make sure you guys have a plan.
Okay, perfect. So I have added it on over to the general one. I will work on the spacing and all of that and then change this one. I'll look through it and just double check, but this is the main thing. We moved it over.
Okay.
Okay, so to play devil's advocate here just a little bit, is there a danger of discouraging someone who, let's say a committee is formed in town and they
Mhm.
decide they want to do a 5K run.
Okay.
They've never done a 5K run before. And so they can't show any experience. They can do the rest, but they can't show any advertising they've done in the past or anything like that. Are we in danger of discouraging them from even trying?
I think if they put a plan, like how on there it says their plan on the Cinco de Mayo one, if they can give us enough info and of detail of what their strategy is and how they're going to approach this, I don't see why anybody would be discouraged. And they could put on there, first time, for the next time we can provide pictures. Or at least, even when they're referenced, because, somebody can say, oh yeah, they have done, maybe not a 5K run, but they've done this before.
And we can even word it at the top, something along the lines of, maybe it's not required, but it's considered in when we make the decision, to make people feel like, because if they don't have that stuff, it's just something to help us make our decision better, so that if they have that stuff, they'll take the time to do it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we've got all of these bases covered because it is important for us to think about that. We will occasionally get applications from people who have never done this before. It's an idea they've been chewing on for a long time, but they have not got any experience of actually doing the event. It'll be a first-time event. And for them to think that, okay, we can't get any LTAC money because we haven't done anything like this before, and we've got no experience whatsoever putting on other events either. As a committee, we have the option of listening and saying, okay, this, and this, but they don't have that. Maybe we can give them a chance, or that sort of thing. That is the committee's option. So, but we need to think about those in some of the language that we use as well.
Well, I just filled out something that said that although this is not required, it does help us make our decision, and does, I can't think of the wording that it used at the moment, but it made me feel better about filling it out because there was something I couldn't fill out, but I did the rest. So yeah, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, I'm not asking these questions in order to be difficult. I just want us to have thought things through.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments about these RFPs?
No.
Okay, so I think what we've done here today, that does look good. I like that addition. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Okay, so for the Sunshine Days and Lighted Farm and Parade, do you guys want to do that for 2021 or 2022?
I don't. I guess started. It's kind of that way everybody gets used to. Lindsay has to fill the farm.
No, thanks, Amy. But no, Either one is fine. I'll do whatever I need to do.
Okay, so if you guys want to start working on the like lighted farm implement parade, I just took Cinco de Mayo's application and we just changed the title. The thing that I need your help with is what do you want to see? Because this is Cinco de Mayo's event description. This is what's a minimum, what's required for Cinco de Mayo. So what do you guys want to see on there for the lighted farm implement parade? Are we, I don't know, Lindsay had the market that you guys wanted to do. Maybe we could do that. It's required that you have a market or that you have Christmas cookie cook or competition.
That it's kind of this kind of hard because just like this year, we might not be able to have the market. So I mean, that's where my brain is at right now. So I can't think of anything to put in there right now.
So Lindsay won't have to fill this new one out this year because she already has the Rotary already has funding for 2020.
Yeah.
So this will be something for 2021, but still we'd have to release it with the rest of them.
Yeah.
We put on there like entertainment and the market because I thought it was a good addition to it. You know, that way, say somebody tries to come and they're like, we want to do it. Well, they have to see, you know, it's not just doing a parade. There's other aspects to this event.
Yeah, I know the entertainment would be a good one to keep in there because that a lot of people liked that, and so it's definitely something we want to keep. So we would want other people to have the same thing, and the market because that's really going to help build. Hopefully, we can do it this year, but yeah, build on to the events for the weekend because that's Rotary's goal. Rotary's goal is to make it more of an event weekend just with like Cinco de Mayo. So to bring more tourists in that time of year. So I think that's what I want other people thinking of too.
Well, I know for my friend group, the hot chocolate competition thing and those types of things were popular. People enjoyed that. Talk about that quite a bit. So those kinds of events are popular. And it gets back to what we were talking about earlier with sunshine days and parades. There's kind of a sense of community that builds around that particular event. And we want to build that up. That's why we do these things. And so even if we have to modify it in this year, we still want to build a sense of community so that the people who even come from outside of town kind of feel like what we're like in Sunnyside. These are the kind of people we are.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Any further comments on this one?
No, I don't.
No, that.
So obviously the funds have already been awarded for 2020, so it's not like you've got to jump on this and get it filled out immediately. Amy, you've got a little more pressure on you, but you've done this enough that you can probably just cut and paste and put it all together. You know, this is definitely something that we want to do for next year. I like the fact that we're getting more detail in there, and it gives the committee and council a little bit more to work with when we're looking at approving applications or asking questions or for follow-up. I think that gives us a little more to work with.
Yeah, and I know normally at the council meetings, you guys can see the proposals, and you know, that'd be good. You can see pictures and maybe it'll help them, you know, say, oh yeah, well, we agree that they chose, like, look at this event. It looks pretty huge. Whichever, you know, people that come in and asking for funding. So I like how the direction we're going.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this one's, so you just want the parade and then the market. Is that it? Do you want me an entertainment?
And entertainment, yeah.
So I'll just remove the hot chocolate competition and just.
I tried that last year, and the difficulty I had with the health department on having some kind of food competition. The cookies was as far as I could go. So I would
Okay.
say don't have that.
Okay, then I will take the street fair vendors out because we're putting it down here where it says market. Okay, let's see. Why is it so difficult? Don't go too far. Okay, so market and the parade and
Yeah.
then entertainment and
The
then we'll
market
just
just put 12 to 6 because that's
So question is the fun run, is that something that's put on by you guys as a committee, or is that a separate event along with the children's parade?
that the fun run is a separate event. We did our best to organize it last year through we just tried to use one of the fitness clubs, but it's nothing that that we have to do or that we've done always. That's what I was trying to think about if we should add that in there, but we've kind of wanted, because we thought it could get better turnout if it was ran by the school or one of the athletic clubs in town.
Yeah, and numbers on that have been dropping over the last couple of years too, haven't they?
Yes, yeah, they have. Yeah, it's hard with Rotary. We don't have as many members to organize this, and so that was hard the year before and last year. I mean, we tried it with an athletic club, and it was just a few people. So it hopefully someone can take it over, though. I would really like it if they could focus on that.
Well, I had kids running in it for quite a few years. I myself, if I'm running, somebody's either shooting at me or something's on fire.
do you guys want to make a mandatory pre-proposal meeting just like Cinco de Mayo, or do I remove this wording for this event?
I don't think we need a mandatory meeting. It's kind of just going over what, if people have questions, but they can always call you if they have questions.
So do you want to remove that same thing for Cinco as well, or?
Or I don't know what everybody else thinks.
I think we can remove that.
Okay, I will take it off. So do you want to, so I'm removing it from the Lighted Farm Implement Parade one. Do you want to remove it for Cinco?
I would, because I mean, unless somebody else is, I guess we could leave it in case somebody tries to. I don't know what everybody else thinks. It's kind of basically you just go and read over if there's any changes on the application, but
How long has it been there in the proposal in this form, Jackie?
I think 3 years. I've been here 2 and it's been.
I know when Deb came, put that in there. When Chamber wasn't doing it anymore, they added it in there.
Right, and I think part of it was too is because Chamber wasn't there and they had a lot of history. And Amy, you're getting to the point now where you've got a lot of history and you know how to do this. Lindsay, you're picking it up pretty quickly. And so then what happens is, let's say Amy decides to go somewhere else and now we're looking for a new person. Now we've got somebody to bring up to speed. We have to make this new individual understand what all is required. And with the mandatory meeting, that requires them to be there. And that's also a test of how serious they are about this, because this is a big event. Our Lighted Implement Parade and our Cinco events are the 2 biggest events in our community, and we don't want them to go away. And we also don't want it to get messed up by somebody who doesn't understand something, and we could have covered that in this meeting. And I think that was the reasoning behind all of this.
Yes.
So can it be worded where it can say, if a new applicant, you must attend a informational meeting?
I think we could probably do that.
Yeah, we can word it where maybe if it's a new applicant, please schedule a meeting with the city clerk or the LTAC chair to review
Yeah,
your plan, something
Yeah.
like that.
because
Yeah.
I do agree that, yeah, a new person, it would be difficult.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to throw the whole thing out. I like the idea of must have a meeting. They can, yeah, like I said, they can either meet with the LTAC chair or the clerk. City clerk tends to know that information better than anybody else in town. But as the LTAC chair, I would be happy to attend a meeting like that as well.
What do you guys think about that?
I
Yeah.
think it looks good. I think it covers what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, and I'll do the same for Cinco then. And Sunshine Days. Okay, what about scope of work? Those are pretty generic for events. Save.
Okay.
Marketing. I'll change all of the Cinco de Mayo wording there, but it seems pretty generic for an event.
Yeah,
We might throw in there the term if applicable, because not all events are going to have a carnival. Not all of them are going to
Right.
have, a street fair or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because the carnivals, depending, they won't come. You have to, they want to like know numbers, like if they don't really know. So I think that's good wording for that.
Okay, that sounds good. Budget. Fine. Insurance, fine. I'll change this here. Okay. Okay. What do you guys think? I think everything looks fine. Because most of these things are generic again, proposal certification. And then here on the requirements, I'll just put the statement of qualifications. That's what we added on. Okay, so I guess, okay, now we're done. If you guys are fine with this one, we'll move on to Sunshine Days.
Any
Yeah.
questions on this one?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so the only thing we're gonna change with Sunshine Days is the event section.
Oh.
So let me pull that up, one moment. Okay, so the same for screen sharing has stopped. Why? Don't stop. Okay, these are the Cinco de Mayo dates. What do you want for Sunshine Days?
Sunshine Days, it's always been the third weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I
Third
know it's right, the third weekend of
Yeah.
September.
September, yeah.
So
And it-
traditionally we had it later on, but then the Yakima Fair kind of took our dates. And then
Yeah.
what we ended up doing was switching it to coordinate with whatever was homecoming week at Sunnyside High School.
Yes. And that's what kind of I did this year. I kind of talked to see what this Yakima Fair, and I know they had pushed back their dates back. So then that was letting me able to do mine September 18th and 19th. And then I did just coordinate with Diana from Miss Sunnyside to make sure they were on the same dates for their pageant. So it's, I don't know, do we put like third weekend in September? Because then it's kind of like, I don't want to overdo the fair.
I think the reasoning, and I believe this was a council decision, I think the reasoning was that we would coordinate it with high school homecoming in an attempt to not be locked into a date if the Central Washington Fair all of a sudden jumps dates again. High school homecoming is probably going to adjust to fit around that. They kind of blindsided us on that because we'd had that weekend for years and they didn't really consult with anybody. And all of a sudden there it was on our weekend. And so we had to make all the adjustments. And because they are the big event in the county, they sort of carried the weight on that one.
Well, hopefully we can be the big one now.
Well, we definitely have the opportunity this year. So what are the dates for that weekend in September?
So this coming September would be the 18th, 19th is what I had that we had marked down. And that was, I had talked to Diana, and were doing the 18th, 19th, 20th, which would be that weekend.
So for 21, it looks like 17th, 18th is Friday, Saturday, and the 19th is Sunday.
Yeah, and that's because I coordinated with Hera, because Hera does theirs September 12th, and they were kind of moving around as well. And I know last year, I believe, Lindsay, you can correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we overlap Hera? Or it was somebody else that we overlapped as well? Do you remember?
I think it was Hera. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So, looking at this year's calendar, it would have been Hera the 12th, Sunshine Days would be the following week, and then the Yakima Parade. So, I mean, if we can keep that third weekend and kind of, now that we have something set, I can tell Hera, hey, this is what we have already, because we do have a royalty page, and I can let them know.
Okay.
Well, as long as you guys sound like you had that pretty well worked out, I'm fine with these dates. They look like they'll work.
Yeah, and I know I also with finding these dates, I was in contact with Jackie as well, to make sure city was okay with those dates as well, and kind of let her know this community is doing this date, and I already talked to these people, and so I know they were like, okay, if you've talked, it's fine with us.
So I'll set the dates of September 17th through 18th. And then here at the bottom, we can just word it a little bit differently. But for now, I'll just write event dates may be modified depending on coordination with Sunnyside High School homecoming event and Washington State Fair. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that works.
So do you want, for Sunshine Days, do you want to require that they have a street fair?
Yeah. I guess a street, a fair or street fair.
Okay. And then the times 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Do you want to require carnival?
See, with that one, it was kind of iffy, because when I did talk to the carnival and they had came that one time, they weren't very, they lost money. So they were kind of like, we'll see how you pick up the event for this year. Obviously, we don't know what we can do for this year. So that's what we were at with the carnival. That's the hard part with the carnival. You guys can put it in there, but if I can't get a carnival to come in, and I really like working with the one that I do already with Cinco de Mayo because they're really good.
Okay.
I would
so-
say to just not have it, because I feel like, yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think we need to build it back up before we expect to have the carnival. But I think a street fair is doable, and just having vendors come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds good. I will, so parade is fine. Entertainment, you want to leave it there?
Yeah, because with the street fair, we gotta, even if it's dancing or the school coming out, I think it's good to have some kind of entertainment there.
Okay. Oops, Saturday, Fridays.
We have to keep in mind for Friday as well, if we're coordinating with homecoming, there will be a football game Friday.
Yeah, and I know I was talking to Martinez for this year to do, is it fourth quarter or fifth quarter downtown? Kind of be the host, because I know when talking with him, he wanted to coordinate with different businesses this year to have that, do Dutch Bros, do Burger Ranch, do different areas in town for that.
Okay, and then so obviously this is Cinco, but any other thing you want to add on? No? Okay. So we have this section for Sunshine Days, September 17th, street fair, parade, and entertainment. Okay. Anything else for that one?
No.
I think that sums it up pretty good.
Okay, perfect. So I will get these ready and I'll send it out to everybody. And so we're going to release these with the general one and with the Cinco de Mayo one to be due on August 19th.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That works. Okay. What's the next item?
Okay, any more work need to be done on these RFPs?
I don't think so. I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. We're done with that item then.
All right, well done, you guys. I am pleased with the progress that we've made. I think this is, like I said earlier, a move in the right direction. Section 2 here, items from committee members. Anybody need to bring anything up?
Did you guys approve for during council for the veterans downtown, whatever came with that?
That was approved unanimously, so we're moving forward with that.
Nice.
And we just mailed them the application or the application, the agreement yesterday. So they should be receiving it today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Anything
So,
else? Lindsay?
I guess I think I kind of already did it before, but just an update on the lighted parade as far as the Rotary goes. We're working, hoping for plan A, but of course we're working on plan B and a plan C. And we're going to be sending a survey out to past participants and past donors to find out if, people, depending on how we have to do it, if they're willing to be in the parade no matter how we do it, or how many we have that are willing to do that. And this has always been our fundraiser, but for the community, we want to make sure that somehow or another we have something, whether the Rotary uses it as a fundraiser or not. So but we are sending out stuff to donors to find out if anybody's willing to help, make it like last year. We're still planning on having some sort of entertainment right now, but that's if, people can be downtown. So, but that's just an update on that from Rotary.
Okay, thank you. Staff members, Jackie, you got anything that we need to know?
Nope. Not right now. The only thing I'm concerned about is Marty Beeler, his attendance. So this is his third meeting. Depending on if you excuse him or not, I'd have to send a message to Mayor and let him know of the absence. But other than that, Mr. Casey and I presented council a little cover sheet showing them how much money we think we have. And I reviewed it with you guys too.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of what else. And just following up on some agreements, and that's it.
So is this you still haven't had any contact with Marty Beeler?
No, I haven't. He hasn't answered my calls or emails, and hasn't responded to my messages that the voicemails I've left on his phone. And then Tom Denley, I talked to him before I scheduled the meeting because he said Tuesday morning was the only time he could attend. And so I forwarded all of the meeting information to him, and I haven't heard from him since.
Okay. Let me try to make a point of stopping over at Marty and seeing what he wants to do with this.
Mhm.
Obviously, before we adjourn, we're going to have to decide whether we've excused these guys or not. But I will make a point of talking with Marty sometime this week and seeing where we are.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
Okay, so future agenda items, I think some of these are self-explanatory. We've talked about the contract language. Obviously, I believe, and Jackie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe council has to approve the language change that we've had on our request for proposals. At least they need to see them. And so is that necessary? Does that have to run through council?
It's not required, but I know you said at the last meeting you wanted to present it to them.
Right. I
So-
want their feedback at least. I think that council will approve it. It kind of goes in line with some of the conversations we've had over the last couple of years whenever these came up.
Mhm. So we have time because depending on when Eric is done with the changes, we can take it to council as soon as he sends it to us. And then we normally don't enter into agreements until December, January. The only one that we did earlier was Cinco because they wanted to spend already.
Mhm.
So as soon as council sees it, we can start sending it over to everybody.
Okay. I don't want us to forget that it's there and then not take any action on it. So we have to keep that moving.
So I'll
I
put it on
think-
the council agenda planning schedule, so we
Okay.
don't forget.
Perfect.
I'll put it in as future items.
Okay, so other future agenda items, obviously, we've got the list of dates that we saw when we're going to start considering the proposals that have been submitted and discussing that. That's going to happen in September. Do we need a meeting before then? Sorry about that.
Well, we were gonna review August 26th, right? Is that when we're reviewing the RFPs?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then it goes to the city council, and then if there's anything different, we would have to meet again after they would see it. in September.
Okay, so our next meeting then would be August 26th. You are correct.
And you guys tell me a time because I'm not gonna. The time that you tell me right now is the time that I'll set it on the 26th.
I'm open.
Look at the calendar. 26th is a Wednesday. I can meet in the morning if I'm done by 11, or I can meet in the afternoon after 2.
I'm fine. I'm fine with either, actually. So this time is fine, or it would have to be a 4 o'clock meeting for me if it wasn't in the morning.
And I'm fine with that time of day as well, as long as, like I said, it has to be after 2 that afternoon, and then I'm good to go.
Amy, how are you for mornings?
I'm fine. I'm open to whatever.
Let's do it at 9, so that way.
Okay, so I'll set it August 26th at 9 a.m.
I have a quick question though for the for next time. Before we had it taken out money for the event center. Are we still doing that, or is that something that's presented to us every time, just like other RFPs?
So
The council had talked about, sorry, Jackie, council had talked about just having that come out as, and we've talked about different things, and I don't remember exactly what we decided, but that was something that I know Mayor Hart wanted to come out every year.
Okay. I was just curious. I know it was in there last time, and I just wanted to make sure that we were remembering that, or I was remembering that. Okay.
And what things are going to look like after 2020 and all of our excitement, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of an event center. I think that there is potential for us there. I was in, earlier I had mentioned that I had seen some amazing event centers and conference centers in places like North Dakota in the middle of nowhere. Saw the same thing last week. I was out in the middle of Wyoming, and here's this beautiful event center and hotel complex in this tiny little town. And I think the town was about 2,500 people. And I understand that in that part of Wyoming, that's the population center, but still in a town like that, in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, if they can support an event center for activities, why can't we?
Yeah.
All right, so anything else that needs to be brought up for the good of the cause?
Nope.
No.
do you want to review attendance?
Yes, thank you. So we have 2 absences today. We have Mr. Beeler, who is on his 3rd absence and without any explanation. And we have Mr. Denley, who is also absent. And he hasn't offered any explanation at this point either. What is the committee's will on these 2 absences?
Well, if they haven't made contact, it would be an unexcused absence.
Okay.
Yeah, I motion they're both unexcused for this one.
Okay, well, we have a motion. Amy, you're the one who would second it, so.
Oh, I second it.
Okay. All right, so all in favor of granting an unexcused absence to both Marty Beeler and Tom Denley, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. I also vote aye. Both are unexcused for this meeting. And like I said, I will make work of getting in touch with Mr. Beeler and finding out what his desires as pertains to this committee are. And, if he no longer wishes to be a part of this, well, then we have to find someone else from his position. And keeping in mind that you are both on the receiving end of LTAC funds, we have to have members also who are on the giving end, those in the hotel business or lodging business of one sort or another need to be participants as well. So in the event that one or the other decides they no longer want to participate, be thinking of individuals who might want to be part of that. And maybe if you know any of them, have some conversations with them and see if we can get some interest on their part, because this is an important committee in town.
I know the Walmart manager, she wants to be involved more. I don't know, or be on some kind of, I guess, boards. She did mention it to me, and she was kind of questioning like how, because she was like, how do you have time for it? And I just kind of explained to her, you know, different boards meet at different times. And so I don't know if that's somebody or if she's able to.
She could be on it, but we do have requirements for certain industries to be on there, and lodging industry is one of our requirements. And I don't remember off the top of my head how many or how the percentages need to be broken up, but those are people that have to be on this committee.
Mhm.
So it's two members that collect the tax and two members that receive the funds.
And can we have others on there in addition?
No,
Okay.
I'll show you. Can you guys see the
Yeah.
code? Okay.
Mhm.
So you have two members who represent businesses that collect the tax, two members that receive the funding, and one member of LTAC.
Okay. So be thinking of individuals who might be interested in participating. I know we get a bit of a struggle in Sunnyside finding hotel motel owners that are interested in participating, but we need them. So
Okay.
Are they able to send like a representative?
I think so. Mr. Denley does not own the Best Western.
Okay. 'Cause I know like he has his market manager that I talked to dealing with. So I don't know, maybe if he's not aware, maybe if he can send, if he's not able to attend.
Mr. Denley is involved in the LTAC committee of a number of communities. He's probably aware of that.
Oh, okay.
May be able to talk to him about that though, and see if it's difficult for him, maybe his local manager or somebody else could come in his place. I'm not sure. So that would be worth talking to them about. So,
Okay.
all right, so that's been taken care of. Is there anything else that I have forgotten?
No.
Nope.
All right, then if there's no objection, then we will adjourn this meeting. Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.